Hello and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris. Welcome to Consider This. This is the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. Perikatan Nasional has a new chairman. Past Vice President and Terengganu Menteri Besar Ahmad Samsuri Mokhtar, better known as Dr. Sam, now leads the PN coalition following the resignation of Muhyiddin Yassin from the role. All this is happening amid Bersatu's widening internal split following a slew of Bersatu members having been booted out from the party a few weeks ago. So what does this new leadership in Perikatan Nasional mean for the future of the coalition? And does it signal a deeper shift in Bersatu's influence in PN? Well, joining me now on the show is Ibrahim Suffian, better known as Ben Suffian. He is a programs director at Merdeka Center. Ben, let's talk about Dr. Sam or Ahmad Samsuri Mokhtar, his full name. He's just been appointed chairman of PN. I'm wondering how significant you view this appointment and what it signals to you about the balance of power within the coalition currently.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I think number one, it is a very significant shift in terms of the top leadership of Perikatan Nasional. I think I base my comments on two specific aspects. Number one, Dr. Samsuri as a personality, political leader. And then number two, in terms of what it means to the average Malaysian voters out there. I think first and foremost, Dr. Ahmad Samsuri is, I would say, one of the calmer, more moderate appearing political leader coming out from PAS. I think as Chief Minister of Terengganu, he has for the most part skirted controversy and has not been in the national limelight, for a long time. And having said that, he belongs to a new crop of leaders who are seen to be more moderate, technocrat. He is an aeronautical engineer. And because of that, I think could appeal to a wider set of Malay voters beyond the traditional, more Islamically oriented electorate that has been traditionally supporting PAS. So, broadly speaking, he is a leader who could potentially bridge the gap for PAS and Perikatan Nasional towards other segments of the Malay electorate that the party still have not been able to get to. On the second aspect, in terms of what it means for the broader voters, I think the shift here is more significant because with the resignation of Tan Sri Muhyiddin and then the passing the baton over to Dr. Ahmad Samsuri, I think now the makeup, the face of Perikatan Nasional is more PAS than it was Bersatu. And therefore, the public-facing side of the coalition now would have, a heavier PAS flavor. It also, I think, challenges the notion that it is a coalition of equals and that it is likely that the influence of PAS and what they intend to bring will be heavier than where it was before. In the past, Perikatan Nasional had this cloak of moderation in the sense that they had Tan Sri Muhyiddin, who is a long figure in public service, more than 40 years in politics, and presided over the crisis of COVID-19. And I think with him no longer being the chair, he will no longer be the face of the coalition, and therefore the face of the coalition will be represented by a PAS leader. And I think this is going to affect how middle ground, independent-minded voters see the coalition and what it intends to bring to Malaysian politics in the future.
Right. Can I just focus on PAS and Perikatan Nasional for now? We'll touch on Bersatu in a little bit, but I'm curious to know why the choosing of Dr. Sam or Dr. Samsuri over other candidates, over say more firebrand candidates like the Kedah Menteri Besar Sanusi. That seems to be more, I guess, popular. Sanusi is very popular. I'm curious to know Dr. Sam's kind of standing within the party, and does this signal the way forward for PAS? Is PAS likely to take a more soft-spoken, moderate line go in the lead up to GE16?
Yeah, I think PAS is decidedly number one. I think decision making in PAS is quite solidly with the president of the party and those around him, and the party has pretty high level of discipline in terms of respecting the decision of the leaders, even if specific quarters of the party may disagree. And I think this is what has happened with the appointment of Dr. Samsuri, that although there are other voices that we've heard, but generally everyone is falling in line. And I think the selection of Dr. Ahmad Samsuri, speaks about passes thoughts about the future, that I think they want to present themselves as a moderate party, as a party that is not clerical or theologian led, but rather led by professionals who have at least administrative experience and have not been quoted by controversy. So I think that's the underpinning reasons for choosing Dr. Samsuri.
Right.
And while there might be other more popular figures, some popular figures they may have some strong following within certain segments, but I think here they're thinking about a leader that could represent all Malaysians, and I think this is the best that they have come up with. And this is something that will look with some hopefulness that perhaps it will inject some rationality into politics, and someone that can speak about the national interest above the narrow ethnic or sectarian interests of the particular groups that the party has in the past represented.
Right. So the way you were describing, Ben, Dr. Samsuri, moderate, maybe can appeal to the Malay vote, professional, maybe has past administrative experience. All of those things was what Bersatu brought to the table for the coalition. I am quite curious now about Bersatu's position. I mean, does it reflect the internal crisis of Bersatu? Has it now completely weakened Bersatu's position in Perikatan Nasional?
Well, I think, any party that has splintered from Barisan Nasional tends to not last longer than 2 electoral terms, with the exception of PKR. And simply because when they, appeal to only the Malay base, there is a period of time within which, the memory fades and then people start to revert to the mean. And I think Bersatu potentially is facing that challenge in the upcoming elections, GE16, in the sense that they perform really well in GE15. But I think moving forward, with a number of its leaders having legal problems, with the finances of the party under constraint, and also the lack of a base. And I think having a base is critical, meaning having a state that one can call its own, and from there they can build support and nurture new leadership. I think this is what's missing in the Bersatu context. And so I think they're going to face a tough challenge ahead. And the splits that they are seeing right now, in some way, is symptomatic of the systemic problems they face, that they lack a base, and therefore there is impetus. There are some segments of the party that feels that they ought to move forward, they ought to be more aggressive, whereas there are others who like to take a more cautious stance. And I think this is the rift between the two factions that has split the party apart, and it doesn't bode well for the party in the coming elections. So depending on when elections are going to be held, if elections are held soon, say in less than a year, then I think they're going to have a tough time. But time heals. So if elections are held much later, there is an opportunity for them to recover over the next year or so.
Ben, what does this splitting, this internal splitting of Bersatu mean for the wider political landscape? When could PAS choose to align with one faction over the other? Because Hamzah says he has the support of, 18, 19 MPs. If that's true, then could Muhyiddin's grip on Bersatu be more tenuous in the Perikatan Nasional coalition than we initially expected?
Yeah, I mean, it could be that, in the sense that now that the party is split, and then some, like Hamzah claims that he has, more than a dozen leaders. I think the incumbent president also has some support. But I think these are all notional, in the sense that, number one, it's only good for the remainder of the term, which, perhaps could run for another 18 months or so. And it's only good for them to hold, the current positions. And when elections roll by, all of these are reset. Everything has to be fought for again. And I think therein lies the problem. Now that, the vice president has been sacked, and he probably is either going to form a new party or join another party. So there's definitely going to be contestation. So the little base that Bersatu has created for itself out of the uh, dismissal of Tan Sri Muhyiddin from the Najib cabinet back in the day, like nearly 10 years ago. That little base is now split further. So it could go three ways. Some people will stay with Bersatu. Some people might go with the new faction that may potentially form a party. Some people will go to PAS, and maybe some group might just return back to UMNO. And so the party definitely will have a more diminished base. So if we just look at prospects, we don't think that elections, or rather, we don't think that there's going to be any changes in the current configuration of the government. So, it's not that the government is going to collapse. And so because of that, we are looking at prospects in the next GE. And in the next GE, you're going to have a party that's probably going to split four ways. And so Bersatu is going to be at a terrible disadvantage. And waiting in the wings is actually PAS and UMNO, who will be in a position to scoop up the spoils. So I think UMNO has a potential of winning back some seats simply by taking advantage of the troubles that Bersatu is facing right now. And likewise, PAS, they too may decide that they want back some of the seats that those candidates contested because they are more solid, they provide the backbone of the machinery, and they can carry the weight of the election.
Do you think then, Ben, that all of these factors might be taken into consideration into calling for early elections or snap elections? You said, there's money left on the table from the weakening of Bersatu. Could the Madani administration want to take advantage of a weakened opposition?
Certainly, I wouldn't put it past them. It is certainly a potential, given that we have generally improving macroeconomic sentiment. We can see the GDP growth rates and so on that continues to improve, and the prospects for 2026 seem to be generally well, despite a more hazy global outlook. You have pretty stable government right now, and out of that, I think we also see that the Prime Minister Anwar is making some inroads in gaining new support, particularly amongst first-time voters. So the prospects are there. I think the big question is whether they are ready themselves to call for election, whether PH itself is ready to call for elections and face it earlier rather than much later, because I think they have some advantage in calling it sooner rather than allow time to pass and for the wounds inside the opposition to heal. And they can probably take a leaf of lesson from previous instances back in 2018 when at that time Pakatan Harapan was still in disarray, the leaders was in jail, and they were still trying to cobble together a coalition with former Prime Minister Dr Mahathir. Then incumbent Prime Minister Najib waited a long time and nearly waited the full extent of the term before calling for election. So there's a case to be held for calling it sooner rather than later. So at the end of the day is how ready and confident they feel about themselves, because I think the landscape out there seems to be suiting an earlier election.
All right, Ben, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Ibrahim Suffian there from Merdeka Center. And we're going to take a quick break. And after this, we'll speak to a Bersatu Supreme Council member. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris. Welcome back to Consider This. Let's continue our discussion about Perikatan Nasional's new chairman and what this means for the coalition's internal hierarchy. Where does this leave Bersatu in the balance of power? Joining me now is Dr Afif Bahardin, who is Bersatu Supreme Council Member. He's also the Selangor State Assembly person for Taman Medan. Dr Afif, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Let's start with the sacking of Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin. Has that essentially solved the crisis that was brewing within Bersatu?
Definitely, the decision have brought clarity to the leadership. And I think by having clarity is the first step forward towards stability within the party. But as any responsible political movement, especially a party as young as Bersatu, we must understand that stability is not created by removing an individual alone. It must come together with building back the party through discipline, institutional strength, and also a shared purpose and refocus of our alignment towards the vision that we're looking at. And our focus now is not on who has left, but on what must be rebuilt. I think the confidence among members, the coherence in messaging among our members, and credibility before the public is much crucial now to be rebuilt. And internal matters, definitely all the disciplinary action and the sacking that has taken place are done internally and addressed through the constitutional process within the party. And what matters more is whether we emerge more orderly, more policy driven, and more focused on the issues that being faced by Malaysians today.
Right. So you said that the focus now should be on communicating to the public this clarity, this stability, and the discipline that you say is the next focus of the party. But how would you then address voter perception that Bersatu is irreparably damaged or fractured from the leaving of such a huge chunk of its top leadership?
Melissa, this is not my first time going through this. I went through this before when I was in PKR last time. So definitely, to me, perception is not shaped by behavior. Is shaped by behavior, not only statements or mere statements that being made. So in order to do this, we have to address it. To me, in a few ways. Firstly, we have to do the institutional discipline. We have to focus on that. Decisions are made through proper channels and not through media or through any narratives being thrown out here and there in the public. And secondly, is the consistency in policy messaging. I think the public wants to know what we stand for. I think it's about time that Bersatu really talks about more on policy-driven matters. I think we've wasted quite the media space that we have for the past few months on matters that are not really concerning the general public. Where the public are actually looking at whether what Bersatu could offer to them, especially as we are approaching towards the general election and also some state elections that are going to be coming. And also, third, I think we have to be visible, being unified in our action. Joint programs, not only within Bersatu, but also definitely with Perikatan Nasional. We are having a new chairman at the moment as a Perikatan Nasional chairman, Dr Samsuri. Definitely this will also influence and also will be, I always see this as an opportunity. When there's always a crisis, there's always an opportunity for any person or any political movement to be able to seize it and also to capture the moments and make it, turn it to be positive for the movement as a whole.
All right. So you mentioned the new chairman of Perikatan Nasional, Dr. Samsuri. What is expected to change under his leadership? How will the coalition, what's the trajectory of the coalition go forward? I'm curious to know maybe if you could compare the leadership or the direction of the coalition compared to that under Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin.
Definitely, with new leader, new head at the helm, there must be a few changes that need to be introduced. And definitely people are looking forward towards it because Perikatan Nasional are not here just to be merely an opposition. We keep positioning ourselves to be the government in waiting or offering ourselves to be the government. And furthermore, Dr. Samsuri also himself is a Menteri Besar in Terengganu. Definitely his track record in Terengganu will be I know he has been scrutinized before. Definitely now it will be microscopically looked, especially by people or especially our informed voters who are mostly on the West Coast, because this will be the battleground for the next election. And definitely for Dr. Samsuri, now, I mean, to me, the commitment that been given by Tan Sri Muhyiddin as a founding president of Perikatan Nasional and also the one who actually architect the formation of Perikatan Nasional, the commitment that Tan Sri Muhyiddin gave towards Dr. Samsuri and also the leadership of Perikatan Nasional definitely will help Dr. Samsuri in addressing and also fulfilling his responsibility. I think now Dr. Samsuri has to take over this platform and use it in a way that he be able to project the image of PAS through Perikatan Nasional platform, that PAS is ready to be a political party for all Malaysians through Perikatan Nasional. I think within PAS also they realize Perikatan Nasional is the best platform in order to address that issue. That matters is really being talked about, especially from a state like Selangor. Definitely we in Selangor, like myself, we are more than welcome to have Dr. Samsuri in Selangor to address the people in Selangor and also to address the concerns that Selangorians have, and also especially the urban voters have towards PAS all this while. I think Perikatan Nasional will be able to provide that platform. And by having Dr. Samsuri there, probably this will be a political game changer. And as the landscape evolving towards the election, hopefully this will bring a more stable, more policy-focused leadership style and strengthen PN appeal towards the general voters, that especially in the West Coast area.
Right. Dr. Afif, so you said Dr. Samsuri is moderate. You know, he has a professional background. He appeals to the moderate urban Malay, but also to non-Malays. If that's the case, then where does that leave Bersatu? Because wasn't that supposed to be your base? Who is Bersatu's base voter base currently?
So now I think most important is we complement each other. I think when Bersatu and PAS decided to form Perikatan Nasional, we came in with our own strength and also credibilities that we be able to bring to the table. Definitely being within this coalition of Perikatan Nasional, it's not about dominance or base anymore. It's about how we project ourselves and also to show the unified leadership that we have within Perikatan Nasional, and to also propose it and to sell it out to the voters, especially the whole Malaysians. We've seen the way that people voted for Perikatan Nasional back in 2022. I mean, we are almost there. It's just not enough numbers to be able to form government on our own. Definitely, in next general election, we want to surpass that numbers. In order to do that, we have to appeal to especially the urban voters, the mixed areas, where this will be the battleground. Where now, from what I gather, especially being in Selangor, for the past 3 years that we are here, Perikatan Nasional being opposition in Selangor, we do not see PKR or even PH is gaining more momentum in urban areas, whereas PN is gaining more momentum in these mixed areas. So it's a matter of addressing the crowd, the urban voters, by talking more about policy, less about individuals, less about individual politics. It's more about policy driven, because these are what the people deserve to get from whatever political party that they're going to vote later on during the election.
Right. So less about personalities, more about policy coming out from Bersatu going forward. Earlier you said, Dr. Afif, that we shouldn't focus on who's left, but look at who has remained. When you look at who has remained in Bersatu, does Bersatu have a clear succession plan in place? Who is next in line after Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin? Are we still is Faizal Azumu and Rasijuddin, are they ready to step up and take the reins of Bersatu heading into GE16?
I think Melisa, is still a bit too early to answer those questions because we just faced through a very I wouldn't say a turmoil, but more of a crisis that need to be handled. Now I think the focus is, because there's loopholes being left behind where vacancies need to be addressed, and I believe now is a chance for the party, especially to be able to bring out the youth, and I will address especially the young politicians who are able to seize this moment to come up and also to step up in order to fulfill this role. I think this will help Bersatu to be able to prepare more young leaders to be being put forward towards the next general election. And I think Tan Sri Muhyiddin has been very open about this. I have the opportunity to work with many other presidents before. I think in terms of Tan Sri Muhyiddin's succession plan, he's very clear, he's very consultative, very democratic, and I think that is needed, especially moving towards new politics in Malaysia. So Bersatu is, you can't write off yet. We are here, we are ready to move forward, and definitely with the leadership of Tan Sri Muhyiddin, with the assistance of Dr Azizidin, Faizal Azumu, Azmin Ali, and many others, definitely Bersatu will bring a strong force within Perikatan Nasional, and also to be able to capture the minds and imagination of Malaysians in the next election.
All right, last question from me. Are you watching, is Bersatu watching closely how Datuk Sri Hamzah moves next, or his next moves?
To us, for me personally, it's not important anymore. I think we are moving towards looking at how we be able to replace these seats that being left by them, because quite a number of them in places where Bersatu have won the seats before. So I think the focus now is to find new leaders, which is already under the pipeline now. It's already moving, and that's why I'm on the move now, because I have to meet few people in order to rebuild the grassroots, and also to rebuild the base that we already established before. So I think for us, for Bersatu, it's about moving forward. So like in any relationship, when one's left, so you move on to the next. So I think that's how we're going to take this approach for Bersatu at the moment.
Dr. Afif, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Afif Bahardin from Bersatu Supreme Council Member. That's it for this episode of Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris, signing off the evening. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.